Hello everybody. This video is a run of Critical Mode, which is a challenge for Killing Floor 2 created by Noot Noot, where the goal is to finish a full 10-wave Hell on Earth difficulty match as a level 0 perk of your choosing. Now this challenge takes heavy inspiration from Fat Cat, also known as Psycho Gamer's, level 0 plus challenge, in which the goal was also to complete a match as a level 0 perk. However, the primary difference between Critical Mode and the Level 0 Plus Challenge is that in the Level 0 Plus Challenge, XP was actually able to be earned by the player. And this would result in the player actually leveling up throughout the course of the match. In Critical Mode, however, mods are in use that prevent XP from being gained at all, so the player will remain level 0 for the entire match. Now the rules for this challenge are as follows. Number 1, no off-perk weapons can be used. This means that I must use perks that are only designed for my perk. Number 2, no DLC weapons are allowed to be used. And this includes things like the Mosin Nagant, the Dosh gun, and so on and so forth. Number 3, I must remain level 0 for the entire match, as I just explained. And lastly, official maps only. Now speaking of maps, this is going to be a support run taking place on KF Spillway, which I feel is one of the more interesting maps for support. In this video, I intend to show you not only how I got the waves completed, but I also want to offer some interesting commentary about the methodologies and tricks that I employed in this run. This map is a goldmine for support tactics, if you will, and I plan to show off a lot of those in this video. Specifically, I'm going to be showing off a lot of tech revolving around the double-barreled boomstick. Now, anyone that knows how I play support probably expected that to be the case, but I hope that this video shows some of you guys out there some of the really cool things that you can do with the boomstick. So without further ado, as you can see, I am level 0, I have no skills, no perk passives or anything, which again is the point of the challenge. Now spawning in here, we're going to have to see where we spawn, because in vanilla Hell on Earth, most maps have random spawn points, and you may or may not spawn at your desired spawn point. In this case, I actually got an okay spawn. The hold that I want to be at for this run is actually right up here, down this way where I'm looking right now. And I'm just taking out some of the stragglers behind me here, and right here in this position where I've just arrived, this is where I'm going to be spending the majority of my time throughout this run. Now the reason why this spot is really good in my opinion is because pretty much if I'm at the spot I'm standing right now, then the Zeds can only really come from the front. So this makes things a lot easier to control, especially as a support, which is a very heavy crowd control / multi-kill perk. In fact, support benefits greatly from things being lined up, and that's something that I'll talk about a little bit more later. Also, as the clock just literally surfs on my head. Anyway, in this first wave, it's pretty straightforward. There's nothing really special to talk about. I'm just really trying to avoid becoming trapped. Now, in level 0 challenge rather, it's really important to understand that you basically have no attack power. Most perks are extremely weak at level 0, and this causes even the most mundane of enemies that you would normally not really care about in a regular run to be actually pretty big threats, and rioters are one such example of that. So it's going to be pretty common in this run that you're just going to see me straight up running away from stuff. I would prefer to not chance it and take the damage, especially because rioters themselves can buff themselves and other Zeds, which increases their damage dealt. So when it comes to rioters, just don't mess with them. Back away and, just take your time to get the shot without letting them damage you. Bloats are another Zed they're also pretty dangerous, and you want to try to avoid contact with them at all costs. Don't feel bad if you have to run away from them, because bloats, although they don't take very many bullets to kill, are very dangerous and they hurt a lot. Last but not least, you want to also avoid husks, Edars, and Gorfiends. Especially Gorfiends. Gorfiends are very, very fast, and they really, really love to latch themselves onto you when they get nearby you. So you'll notice that throughout this run, I'm going to be heavily prioritizing Gorfiends, Riders, Edars, Husks, and Bloats. Now, during the trader just now, I went ahead and bought myself the HC-12. This, without a doubt, is one of the best Tier 2 weapons in the game. It's an amazing Wave 2 gun. It does not have very much ammo, and in fact, I didn't buy very much ammo this wave, but you'll see that you can get by very, very well with just a few magazines of this weapon. Keeping in mind that the key to using this weapon properly is lining up enemies rather, but especially trash. Like right there, you can see that I killed those 2 clots. You're going to find very often during this run, as you're watching it, you'll see that I actually will strafe left and right to try to get Zeds to be lined up so that I can get multiple kills in one shot. which is like actually right there. I just did it as I mentioned it. This is obviously important in any Killing Floor 2 run, I would argue. You know, ammo efficiency is a real thing, but in level 0 challenge, one of your main goals is going to be getting your weapon of choice as early as possible. And in order to do that, I've decided to go a little bit lax on my ammunition. Oh, this is really bad here. So that EDAR right there, this is why I don't like EDARs. EDARs are one of the biggest pains in the asses just ever, even in a regular run. What I was hoping would happen there, just to provide some context, was I was hoping that the Clot would have walked in front of the EDAR and blocked the laser beam. Unfortunately, as you saw, it didn't work out for me, and I almost died for it. But one other thing I do want to quickly mention about what just happened there is that Rioter at the very end, he came in for a hit, and I actually, I just bashed him. Bashing is a really good tactic in general, and it's heavily underutilized by just the general population of the game, in my opinion. Most Zeds will stumble from a bash, and it provides you some much-needed breathing room to get by. And in that case, it actually might have saved my life, because I was pretty low when I did that. Another real quick thing I want to mention as well is that the shotguns themselves are also extremely good at stumbling and jostling enemies around, and that's what I did to that EDAR that was right after he grabbed me. He charged up to me, and before he could hit me, I shot him with the HC-12, and he actually stumbled back. So that provided me some much-needed breathing room. Now, again, just getting back to what I was talking about a minute ago, I was talking about how you generally want to try to make the best use out of your ammunition as possible. Now, if you're actually proficient with aiming, then you can actually kill most Zeds in one shot, as you can see here. Basically, even this Siren, if I had hit all the pellets there, I would have killed her in one shot. Pretty much the only things you're going to spend multiple bullets on are the medium Zeds, like floats and, you know, also rioters and stuff like that as well. Now again, I decided to drop off here. I didn't want to chance it. You have to remember and keep yourself grounded that, you know, you're not playing at level 25 here, so it's okay to take a step back and recollect yourself if need be. Baiting out the Blow's attack there. And again, this wave is just pretty straightforward. Had an Elite Crawler there. Elite Crawlers are another one that are a massive pain in the butt. They don't really do much damage, but they're also they're just very annoying and irritating. They make gas clouds, and they just generally pollute everything. Here I was strafing left and right around that EDAR. That's a really good way to approach EDARs in general, as any perk really. Strafe left and right and cause them to shoot at your last known position, and it's very easy to dodge them as you run directly at them. Obviously don't run at EDARs if you don't have to, but I didn't really have a choice there because all the other routes were, there were Zeds coming down there, so. Notice how with the bloat there, I walked up to him just in his range, and then I backed up and baited him into vomiting on me, or at least attempting to vomit on me, and that results in a really easy headshot. So just something to keep in mind, but obviously if you get too close, then the bloat's going to actually vomit on you, and that's no good. So, end of wave 3. Now, I've been using the HC-12 for as long as I have because I want to go directly for the AA-12. That's basically going to be my main weapon in this run, and it's going to be my main weapon that I'll be using to kill basically everything, but especially larges. Now, since we're only on wave 4, there is a chance that I could get Skrakes, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think Flesh Pounds can spawn until wave 5, if I'm not mistaken. I think actually, I'm sorry, I think wave 4 is the absolute earliest that Flesh Pounds are allowed to spawn, if you're that unlucky. But typically, you won't see them until wave 5, sometimes even wave 6. But on wave 4, there is a pretty solid chance that you can get some Skrakes. So by wave 4, you want to try and have a weapon that's a little bit better at taking care of larges. In this case, the AA-12 is perfect for this. But the way that I use the AA-12 in this run is not really like your typical use of it. I'm not really going to be spamming. I'm actually still going to be going for headshots, and I'm still going to be lining up Zeds. Just like those crawlers there. So speaking of crawlers, another great way to take care of crawlers as support, when you have a line of them like so there, is to actually let the first one jump, and then shoot through him toward the other ones in the back. Because a common mistake that people make, right, is they aim at the front crawler, and in order to hit him, you usually have to aim really low, right? But when you do that, the other two crawlers behind him, or however many there are, you won't hit them with that shot. So they'll just walk up and tickle you while you're reeling from the last shot that you just did. So by letting the first crawler jump, I'm able to look at the other crawlers while killing the first one still, and then I can get myself a couple easy multi-kills. Support is just all about patience and, you know, lining up your shots. It's really just a patience game. If you can't get a good shot, you know, take a step back and try it again. Especially because for many of your kills as support, you have to commit pretty heavily in terms of your range. You know, you need to be right next to Zeds, and if the engagement isn't worth it, that could result in you losing a lot of health and armor, or even possibly dying. And in level 0 challenge like this, your armor is a valuable resource that you do not want to waste as much as possible. We are playing on vanilla Hell on Earth here, so that means that there are things like spawn rage flesh pounds, which you basically have no control over, and you want to make sure that you have as much armor as you possibly can in case that happens, and you'll actually be able to survive the damage. So there's wave 4. Again, pretty straightforward. It's not really... The AA-12 honestly makes it a little bit easy, I feel. It's just such a good gun. You've got 20 rounds of fully automatic fire, and the shells themselves decimate pretty much everything. Now here I'm going to go ahead and buy my second weapon, which is going to be the double barrel boomstick, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video. I could have actually went another wave with the AA-12, but I decided to buy the double barrel because I just wanted to have that as an option just in case I either ran out of ammo or I needed the mobility. And so speaking of the double barrel, this is a good time to go into it. The double barrel is easily one of the best tier 2 weapons in the entire game, and it's one of support's most useful tools. It not only does a lot of damage, but it's also extremely good for mobility, which is something that you're going to see a lot between now and the end of this video, is that the double barrel boomstick is great for evading attacks. It's great for just moving quickly through the map. You can use the recoil from the double shot alternate attack to actually launch yourself. And not many players actually know that, or they may know that, but they don't realize that it actually launches you. So you can use this to do jumps and clear gaps, take shortcuts. Those are all things that you're going to see as we go through the rest of this video. So I do have this Scrake now, and honestly, there's really nothing to it. It's just unload AA-12 on him, but obviously, as you can see, I'm not doing that right now because there's like 5 sirens there, so... Again, play the patient game, just going to back up and wait. Scrakes quite literally do not do anything until you rage them, so there's no reason to rush this kill. Just get rid of everything around him, and then kill him when he's all alone. That's the easiest way to handle Scrakes. But unfortunately there, I raged him on accident while I was killing that stalker. So now I'm a little bit panicking here, because I know that there's Zeds up ahead of me, and I need to get clear so that they don't trap me. This is an unfortunate reality of playing support. Pretty much every weapon that you use has penetration power, and thus can cause collateral rage. So it's just something to keep in mind, and you'll notice me going out of my way at times to avoid shooting through Zeds and hitting straight, because of this situation here. I'm not sure why I'm taking this long to shoot him though, but I think I'm just trying to make sure that there's nothing right behind me. Again, it takes a lot of committal on the player's part in terms of you really have to like give all your attention to taking out large Zeds as support, and during that time you're really susceptible to getting flanked by things, and I think I was just trying to make sure that there was absolutely nothing behind me. But realistically I should have dealt with that Scrake a bit earlier. It would have been just as easy as unloading the AA-12 on him. But no matter, he's dead now, and that's the end of wave 5. And this is my final loadout, by the way, so rolling into the rest of this game, we're just going to keep refilling this weapon. Support, again, is one of those perks that has a really, really great tier 2, several great tier 2s, in fact, being, you know, the HC12 and the double barrel. And that HC12 is, in fact, so good that it allowed me to use it for the entire creation until I got the AA-12. Now, right there, you saw me using the double barrel's knockback to actually clear that gap there. That gap is normally not clearable by regular jumping. In fact, you can do this bidirectionally, as I just showed you there. That's an insanely good shortcut for avoiding Zeds. It's pretty hard to pull off, and I wouldn't recommend doing that very often until you feel comfortable with it. But as you can see, that's something that the double barrel boomstick allows you to do, and it's one of the reasons why it's so good. Now, I know what you're going to say, but Tamari, the Doomstick does the same thing. In fact, the Doomstick is just a better gun in general. It does more damage, and you would be right as far as the damage part's concerned. But it simply doesn't have the speed and the weight that the double barrel boomstick has. First of all, I wouldn't be able to carry the Doomstick and the AA-12. That's not possible unless you're level 25. But more importantly, the gun is just really slow. And you need in level 0 challenge critical mode, What's more important is not necessarily how much damage you're doing, but your survivability. This is all about outlasting the waves. This is not a typical Killing Floor 2 match. You want to do tactics that are generally safe and allow you to, you know, afford you as much safety as possible. Hence why I'm going for the double barrel. That was a really lucky husk kill there. Got, I don't know how many crawlers that even was, like 6 maybe there? Gotta love husks, right? So now we have our first Flesh Pound, who luckily is not raged, so when the Flesh Pound is calm, it's as simple as just unloading on his head, and he is a goner. Just like that. That's why the AA-12 is really good. Now, you could have used the M4. That would have been the other viable option for a primary for this run. But the thing is that the AA-12 just absolutely wins in terms of reload speed and overall rate of fire. The M4 is powerful. In fact, it does double the damage of the AA-12 per shot. But it's simply too slow to make it worth my while. So that's why I decided to go for the AA-12. And I actually prefer the M4 primarily myself when I play regular matches. I just think that the AA-12 is better for this run in particular. So that's wave 6, and again showing you how you can use the double barrel here to take a shortcut. I missed that jump there, but it's definitely possible to make it. Now, one thing I want to mention about the AA-12 while we have a moment in Trader here is that, remember, I'm level 0. I don't have any skills. I don't have anything like tactical reload or increased ammo, you know, that sort of thing. And in my opinion, the best way to use the AA-12 in this run is to actually always empty the mag completely. Don't actually reload prematurely, because with the AA-12, the empty reload actually reloads slightly faster. Actually, not even slightly, that's an understatement. It's significantly faster. You'll notice as I play through the rest of this match, when I do reload prematurely, you can see the ammo counter in the bottom right updates much later than normal, as compared to when I actually just empty the gun out. So you're going to see me just emptying the gun, and just it looks like I'm wasting ammo, but I'm really trying to get the fast reload, so that I can keep, you know, my rate of fire going downstream, downrange. So check it out here. You can see the ammo counter updates very early, and with a dry reload like that, you can reload cancel earlier than you could if you did a non-dry reload. Now, reload canceling, for those who don't know, is pretty simple. It's basically you reload your gun, and when the ammo counter updates, you bash with your weapon, and then you immediately can begin firing it. That's the basic explanation. Because not all weapons actually have their reload timings matched up to the animation, so they often are considered reloaded by the game earlier than the animation, you know, actually finishes. So it's a muscle memory thing, and when you get the timing down, you can do it pretty easily, and it really, really increases your uptime on attacks. Quarter pound spam here. This is, again, just, there isn't really much to say other than that. Just don't let them hit you. There you saw me jump backwards with the double barrel. Again, that's why that gun is so useful. If any of these keepies get too close to me, I could just jump and shoot like I just did there, and not only am I hurting him, but I'm possibly stumbling him, which makes him take even longer to catch up to me, and I might even, you know, I'm also staying out of harm's way. And there's wave 7. So rolling right along here. Nothing really to explain in the trader there. I'm just refilling my ammo, and that's basically it. This is pretty much how the entire match is going to go. I want to try and hold this spot as long as I possibly can, without giving it up, because everything only comes from the front here. Oh, one thing I do want to mention is how I'm standing at this spot right here. This is actually deliberate. By me standing in this spot here, nothing can spawn off to my left there, because the spawns in this game work on line of sight. So if I'm able to see a spawning volume, then Zeds cannot spawn there. Asterisk, however, it does depend on the map. Some maps have them hard-coded to allow them to spawn, but generally speaking in KF2, Zeds are not allowed to spawn if you are looking at the spawn volume. So by me standing in the spot that I am, I can see all lanes at the same time, and I won't get any surprise corner spawns that could possibly cause me to get pushed back and lose my position. There you saw me waste the last 3 shells in my magazine because of what I was talking about earlier. I wanted that faster reload. Realistically, with the AA-12, because of how much ammunition you have and the fully automatic nature of it, you really shouldn't be getting hit while you're using it. It's so easy to use it to just mow down anything that's coming your way. And if you get headshots, as you can see, it pretty much decimates everything in one shot, including the Gore Fiends, which I mentioned earlier are like one of the most annoying enemies on critical mode. When larges do appear on these runs, you want to try to get rid of them as early as possible because you don't want to get snowballed. So this Scrake right here, I'm just basically committing to him and just getting rid of him. That way, in case anything else spawns, it's one less large to do it, basically. And as I mentioned that, it sounds like I got some spawn rage flesh pounds, so it's time for me to back out. Yep, there he is. Oh, 2 actually. This is unlucky. So that was actually very lucky there. The first FP obviously hit me. I used my knife to parry him, which you should always be doing, by the way. Always use your knife to parry. It reduces damage taken by 20% and causes you to just conserve a little bit of armor. But what happened there that was pretty lucky was the fact that the second Fleshpound actually hit the first one and he deraged, so I didn't have to deal with 2 potential hits. So that's actually really fortunate. That was also really risky right there. What I just did, I killed the Fleshpound, decapped him, and then ran right next to him, and that's really dangerous because a decapped FP can still punch you, and that really hurts, so don't do that. It's just a waste of armor. The double barrel is really good for traveling around, as you can see. All I'm doing is I'm looking behind me, jumping, and using the alternate fire at the same time. This is something you just get down into muscle memory when you get good enough at it. But as you can see, it really does speed me up and make me move a lot faster through the map. So it's something worth getting good at. Obviously, it's a waste of ammo, but you know, with the AA-12 in my inventory, as long as I'm not just being crazy and wasting all my shots, I'll have more than enough ammo to complete the wave with the AA-12 alone. So the double barrel for me is basically a backup tool and a movement tool. It's a utility tool for me. Buying myself a second AA-12 here. The reason behind doing this is so that I don't have to reload in a pinch. If I'm just getting barraged by Zeds, I could just dump my AA-12 and pick up another fully loaded one, and I have another magazine without needing to reload. And I believe I actually needed to do that during this wave, so it's going to be kind of nice for you to notice, or to see how beneficial that can be. So, wave 9. Gosh, I feel like this game is going by so fast. I guess it kind of is. One thing I want to say with crawlers real quick, since I just thought about this right now. If you shine your flashlight at a crawler, they will try to dodge you, and they will sometimes jump to the side, which can be really annoying, for trying to hit them. So my recommendation when fighting crawlers is to turn off your flashlight, unless you absolutely need to see. I don't know if you noticed that, but the crawler there actually did sort of like hop to the side there, and that wouldn't have happened if I had my flashlight off. Once again, I dropped off there because I didn't find it worthwhile to risk my armor. I haven't gotten any larges this wave, right? So you have to think about it. I haven't gotten any larges. I just did now, but up until that point, I hadn't gotten any. And I know there are going to be some. So if it's quiet that long like that, I can basically expect that I'm definitely going to get a spawn sometime soon. And again, you want the armor for that because in the case of last wave where I got the 2 spawn raised FPs, you want to have armor for that so you can survive that. Running away from this Edar, this is not really the place to fight. All maps have, their own set of choke points, and being successful at this challenge is all about learning the dangerous spots in every map. That spot there where I ran through that large open door is was one of the dangerous spots in this map. You don't want to be not paying attention when you go through that choke point. Let's just say that. And not killing Zeds is a good way to ensure that you'll make it through the choke point, because when you kill Zeds, more Zeds can spawn, and when more Zeds can spawn, there's a chance that they'll spawn right in front of you, and if they spawn right in front of you, you're in a lot of trouble. So I got my last second spawn, and just conveniently, I had that other AA-12 right there, so that actually worked out wonderfully for me. Jumping and firing the alternate fire with the double barrel, I managed to hit the flesh pound and also dodge his attack at the same time, but unfortunately he hit me anyway. That's just going to happen to you, and there's really not much you can do about it, but still, I dodged the powerful attack, so it was still worth it, I would say. And that quarter pound just, yeah, I don't really have anything to say about that. I mean, sometimes they just do that. It just be that way. One more Raging FP coming. I think he also crits me. Yeah, I think he crits me right here. Yep. So believe it or not, it's not that I necessarily did it on purpose, but I'm still engaging him with the double barrel shotgun there instead of the AA-12, because if he does hit me, and I just happen to be shooting myself forward, you know, with the blast, then the combination of his attack and the double blast will actually send me jumping even further, and it will help me prevent damage from follow-up attacks. A little bit of showing off there. I used the double barrel to jump onto that bloat's head and then Goomba stomp him, which stuns him. Or, I'm sorry, excuse me, knocks him to the ground. And I'll use that to get myself a free headshot. Here's another trick here that I want to point out. This is a money boosted weapon toss. So what I did there is I have a bind where, I'll have it in the description of this video actually, but the bind allows me to drop multiple like drops of money at the same time. And if you throw a weapon with backspace and then just after throwing it, hit your bind to throw money, the money will shoot out of your body and push the weapon forward. And it will actually propel the weapon further than you normally would be able to. And if you do that in combination with jumping and sprinting, you can throw weapons really, really far. So you can see me doing it right here. Those weapons are going a lot further than they normally would. So it's perfect for moving spare weapons like this round. And just like before, I'm basically just trying to give myself extra weapons just in case I need them. I don't have to worry about reloading. And so wave 10 starting here. Once again, standing in the spot there to block all the spawns from my side. I don't want stuff to spawn there. If I were to not be looking at that position there, there's a spawn volume that's right around that corner, and it's possible that I could get like a ton of larges right there, right next to me, and if that happens, I have to leave my position. I can't hold that. So my goal in doing that is to prevent that from happening as much as I can. I think here I dumped my AA-12 here. Yeah, I do. So my secondary AA-12 coming in handy here. Flush pounds and quarter pounds just spawned right behind me. This is my chance to do as much damage to them as I possibly can before they get here. But it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to stay. There's just way too many of them. And the armor loss isn't worth it because there could be full-size flush pounds later, and I want the armor for those. So. Okay, so right here, I've got an EDAR and a Siren, 2 Sirens in fact. In that position, you want to go for the Sirens ASAP, unless it's an EDAR Trapper, then you pretty much just need to kill all of them. But in that case there, it was just an EDAR Bomber. So it's really important for me to prioritize the Sirens, because them both screaming at the same time will just pretty much eradicate my armor. But I also got kind of screwed over by teleporting Zeds there. This is why Zed teleportation kind of sucks as a mechanic. You know, as I was running through that hallway, I just had the Zeds that were behind me basically teleporting up ahead of me and getting in my way, which is always fun to deal with. Jumping clean over that flush pound with a double barrel shotgun. Again, this is why this weapon is freaking amazing and super useful. I just want you to consider what would have happened if I hadn't done that, and I would have had to engage the flush pound in that room with all the Zeds coming up behind me. So by me being able to jump clean over him, I was able to make the engagement on my terms and take him outside instead of in the room, where we're a lot more dangerous. Found the armor vest there too, which is pretty lucky. Unfortunately he crit me, but it doesn't matter because I had the armor. Here I'm just showing off, I'm landing on his head, which will cause him to fall to the ground. And I kind of don't really care at this point. I'm just kind of messing around because I know that I win now. One thing I want to point out that I did there, and you're going to see me do it a couple more times here at the end of this wave, is that a really easy way to use the double barrel shotgun is to actually bash the Zed prior to shooting him in the face. And the reason why I do this is because the bash will cause his head to sit still for just a moment. And during that time, you can actually land basically a guaranteed headshot. So you'll see me do it right here. Or I guess it's the next scrape. I apologize. Oh no, there you go. I did it right there. So right there you can see I bashed him to stop him from moving. And then I landed an easy headshot on him while he was basically, you know, still reeling from that hit that I did. Bashing is one of your best friends in general, but especially as support. So I'm just money boosting these weapons here. I think I wanted to get them near the traders so that I could like resell them back and get my money back. So I'm just going to leave this Scrake alive. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to talk about a couple other things. So yeah, so bashing is, again, one of the most useful things you can do is support. Bashing specifically causes Zeds to flinch, and the act of flinching interrupts Zed's abilities. So if the Zed was, say, maybe it's a Husk and they're trying to shoot a rocket at you or something, or it's a Edar and the Edar is trying to shoot rockets at you again as well. By bashing those Zeds, it will interrupt that attack. So bashing is just generally really useful, and it prevents Zeds from attacking you for a moment. But in the case of the DBS, or the double barrel shotgun, it will allow you to get an easy headshot. And I believe I'll finish off this last Scrake here using that, so you can see it one more time before we end this wave. So bash, shoot in the head. Be patient here. Let him whiff his attack, bash, and shoot him in the head again. And it's just like that. That's the last set in the game. And as per the critical mode rules, you only need to get to wave 10 and complete wave 10 to win the challenge. So I actually win the challenge now. However, I will be killing boss because I do want to show some tactics for the boss. Also me using my CD binds like a scrub. But anyway, the boss for this run is going to be the Matriarch, and which is a really, honestly, a perfect boss for this run. If there was any point in this match where you can see how useful the double barrel can be for a movement tool, it's going to be during this boss fight. Because as a lot of you know, the Matriarch is extremely devastating. She has her 2 different laser attacks, and just generally, she's really fast and has a lot of health. So what I'm going to be doing here is I want to get her to follow me around these containers to my right here. Matriarch in general is most easily fought when you can go in circles around an object, because by you being able to LOS her constantly, you can avoid all of her laser beams, just like that. So I'm going to be just constantly running around these corners here, and what I want to do during this time is I want to kill her gun. I want to break her arm cannon so that she can't shoot me anymore, because once you do that, you basically win the fight, for the most part. I'm still shooting her head here. I think I'm just trying to lower her armor a little bit more. But I will be switching to shooting her in the arm cannon soon. And as long as I keep to areas in the map that are like this, she basically will never hit me. The only way I can get hit here is if I make a mistake. But if I do make a mistake, that's why I have the double barrel. And using that double blast jump is going to allow me to cover more ground and avoid pets. One other thing too is you'll notice that as I get to these edges, like the corners here, I'm purposely lingering. And that's because when the Matriarch is a certain distance away from you, and she hasn't used her arm cannon in a while, she will use her arm cannon. As opposed to if she's too close to you, instead of using her arm cannon, she'll actually go for a melee attack. So what I want to do here is I want to get her to be far enough away where she wants to use the arm cannon, but close enough to the corner where I can simply just duck around the corner and avoid the attack altogether. Matriarch will also alternate between 2 different beams. She'll alternate between the Tesla cannon, which is the electric attack. That it has the ability to chain to nearby teammates and deals more damage for every teammate that it jumps to. And then you have the purple laser, as I call it, which is just a direct DPS. It does fire damage. The worst of those 2 being... In solo, I'd argue that the purple laser is probably worse, but they're both pretty bad, honestly. So you just want to get rid of that arm. So yeah, now I'm shooting the arm cannon, so this is going to happen for a little while here. I'm basically going to keep doing this over and over. Now, here I'm actually breaking out of my kiting pattern here, because when you break Matriarch's initial armor, she will always spawn a wave of Edars. And I do not want Edars to be interrupting me while I'm trying to do that loop. So that's why I broke out of that spot, and I made that jump, as you saw earlier with the DBS, to take a little shortcut. It caused me to gain a lot of distance on Matriarch. And I'm basically just going to keep running away from her while I whittle down the Edars, and then when the Edars are dead, I'll go back to my original spot again, and I'll just repeat. DBS again saved me right there from... I'm pretty sure she would have zapped me if I hadn't done that, so... Like, the double barrel is honestly the MVP of this run. Without that weapon, support is kind of having a hard time, honestly. Like, one of support's biggest weaknesses in the game in general is a lack of mobility. They're already very slow as it is, and when they're carrying a lot of equipment, they move even slower. And support has the highest weight capacity in the game next to survivalist, so it's very common that a support is, you know, very slow and finds it very difficult staying away from threats. But the double barrel kind of solves some of that, and it allows you some really nice mobility as long as you can manage, you know, the actual mechanical skill of using the gun to shoot yourself around. So anyway, that's the last EDAR, I'm pretty sure. So now I'm going to be working on trying to head back to my original spot. I just want to make sure that she's far enough away so that she doesn't catch me as I'm leaving the room. So it looks like it's good enough for me now. And you're going to notice, again, I'm going to linger on purpose to get her to fire her laser, and then I'm just going to go around the corner. That's how you want to kite Matriarch. You want to be near corners, bait her into shooting at you, and then just, like, duck around the corner, like that. There you go. I want to do that again because I don't want her to catch me while I'm doing this. So again, there's another double barrel shortcut spot. Baiting of the laser here. She's going to do a laser again. Perfect, and I'm right by the pillar, so I just jump around the corner. Now I'm back to shooting the gun and going back to my original spot, and then this just repeats. And I haven't gotten hit this entire time except for like one laser from an EDAR, I think, hit me. But the boss hasn't hit me at all, so... As you can see, if you know how to manage the movement and you understand how to manipulate her AI, you can make Matriarch basically a non-issue, honestly. Like, the biggest threat in fighting Matriarch in general is actually your teammates, if I can be honest. It's very common that your teammates are going to be the ones that are going to get hit by the Tesla beam and will get you killed as a result of that. But if you know how to fight her yourself, you can easily pull off a solo fight like this, no problem. Once again, nothing really to talk about at the moment, just continuing to whittle down her gun until it breaks. There we go, so that's the end of the gun. And now her only means of attacking me, besides mailing me, of course, are grabbing me with her chest or her arm tentacle. And as you can imagine, the double barrel is amazing for that as well, because when she tries to reach me with her arm tentacle, I just need to jump away from her. And suddenly I'm out of range. And also just sitting near walls and corners is also genuinely helpful. She's gonna grab me again in a second here. She always alternates between grabbing and then doing her Siren Scream ability. So there's the grab, and as you can see, the double barrel jump actually saved me from getting grabbed. But she's going to alternate between using her arm to grab you and doing the Siren / Tesla blast, like she's doing right now. So the next thing she's going to do after this is going to be another grab again with the arm tentacle, as you can see there. So I want to make sure that I'm nearby a corner so that I can avoid that. And coming up here, when I break this last armor piece, you can see right now her helmet only has like a very small sliver of health. As soon as that breaks, there will be another spawn of EDARs. So make sure I can spawn EDARs at 3 distinct phases. She spawns them when her initial shield breaks, when both of her armor pieces break, or when she reaches half health, either one of the two. And then the last wave of EDARs comes when she reaches the 50% health mark. So this is the second wave of EDAR spawning, so once again, I'm going to do the exact same thing I did before. I'm just going to run away from her. She's literally like the least priority to me right now. I'm just kind of peppering her as I walk away from her, but really what I want to do is I want to get these EDARs dead so that they're not interrupting me while I'm trying to finish her off here. So, getting some distance. This doesn't happen in this run in particular, but I just want to mention that if Matriarch manages to grab you, and her grab actually connects, if you have the double barrel shotgun out, you can immediately jump away from her and actually avoid the melee attack. So just something to keep in mind if that happens in your run. You can get yourself out of harm's way by just immediately double barrel blasting backwards. You can also parry the tentacle with your knife, actually, and it also will prevent it from connecting with you. And that's something a lot of people don't actually know. The EDARs are behind me right now. They're behind where she just came out of, so what I'm trying to do here is baiting her to this corner of the map so that I can run back over there where we just came from and get rid of those EDARs, because I know they're coming. I just need to like intercept them and kill them. Okay, so right here, I want to bait out a laser here because I'm in a wide open area. ERs. Just go ahead and get rid of those. She caught up to me quicker than I expected her to, but it's okay because I've got the double barrel, and the double barrel's a freaking amazing gun. It's seriously the god tier weapon for support. Changed my mind. It's better than the Doomstick in almost every way besides damage. There's one more ER here behind me. Bashing him to interrupt the attack. Now, I could have shot him there, but I knew that she was going to be grabbing me with her tentacle soon. And as I mentioned earlier, bashing will interrupt Zed's abilities, so that's why I bashed the ER there so that I can continue to move and also dodge the tentacle attack, or the tentacle grab. And that's the last ER. So now we've got one more ER spawn coming up, and it's when she reaches her orange health status, which should be happening around the 40% HP mark. And when that happens again, I will again be leaving my post and running away from her. So just back to this again, shooting her as we run around circles. It's honestly a pretty boring boss in terms of mechanics. It's really, really easily cheesable. Trying to grab me, but I don't care because I have a double barrel shotgun and it's amazing. She just literally can't reach me. She can't even reach me with that attack. Like, this weapon just completely shuts down all types of melee attackers, pretty much, for the most part. Taking a shortcut there. She's gonna go for a grab here the next time she sees me, so I need to be careful. I need to get to a corner. Actually, she went for the Tesla blast there. She'll do a grab next now, though. Probably right here. Yep, there it is. So you get the corner, dodge that. Now she's in the orange health state, so now there are EDARs behind me. I will be trying to kill these EDARs, some of them, if they're in my way, but now that she's in her final health stage, I'm just going to be DPSing her down. Like, basically at this point, I'm just only killing EDARs that are either trappers or that are directly in my way, and otherwise I'm just focusing her down full DPS at this point. You can see that at the beginning, that trapper got stunned by the EDAR bomber. I was actually really lucky that that happened. Yeah, it's getting myself some distance. I want to get away from those EDARs just so I can have a little bit more of, you know, some more safety. And yeah, this is going to be the end of the game. So this was KF Spillway as support, level 0, critical mode challenge. Basically, no damage on the boss for the most part. I mean, the only things I got hurt by was just the ads. I just got hit by some random EDARs. So hopefully you learned a thing or two about how to, you know, evade the matriarch attacks, and I hope that this video, if anything, shows how important... Okay, I actually got hit there, but we're not going to count that. I'm just going to imagine that didn't happen. Anyway, that's KF Spillway, and again, I hope that you learned something new, and I hope that this commentary was enjoyable. The double barrel is just a really good gun, and I hope that this video showcases that, of just how useful that weapon can be from a utility standpoint. So anyway, that's going to be it, and thank you so much for watching, and I will hopefully be doing another one of these soon, so keep on the lookout for that video. Take care, all.